Whoever he came across, he was a very compassionate, loving person.
Tonight at 5, a promising future cut short. The life and legacy of a 22-year-old Madison East graduate shot to death over the weekend.
Plus, the Slender Man attacker in court today. What's next for Morgan Geyser after escaping her group home in November?
And later, a one-on-one with state Senate leaders, how they graded their house's work for Wisconsinites so far this year.
You're watching News 3 now at 5.
Good evening, and thanks for having us in. Eric Franke has the week off.
Let's begin tonight by looking at your holiday forecast. Meteorologist Blaise Keller is here. Certainly doesn't feel like it's almost Christmas Eve outside. Felt like spring today, Blaise.
It really did, as temperatures got into those 40s once again. And believe it or not, we're going to stay there into not only Christmas and Christmas Eve, but into Friday and further into Saturday as well. So with Christmas Eve and Christmas right around the corner, we're expecting mostly cloudy conditions for both days. Mild, as I've just said, with some morning fog possible both Christmas Eve morning and Christmas morning. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be traveling from house to house through, I would say, the late morning hours on Christmas. You could be running into some fog. Patchy drizzle may be possible on Christmas Day, but we're going to expect more of that rain shower activity as we go throughout the afternoon hours on Christmas. We'll see a rain-snow mix return as we end Christmas Day going into Friday. Temperatures still in those 30s and 40s right now. It's 40 in Camp Douglas, 37 in Madison, 40 in Monroe, 39 there in Janesville and Waukesha. Cooler air is set to arrive. How cold we do get and how long the cold lasts, we'll talk about that, and if there's any rain or snow chances. As I just mentioned, temperatures will be cooling down, so we'll see if there's any rain or snow chances in the extended forecast coming up in just a few minutes as well.
All right, Blaise, thank you. To continuing coverage now of a homicide last weekend in Madison. Within the past few hours, the Dane County Medical Examiner confirmed the identity of the victim. He is 22-year-old Abubakar Dabo.
And that update came after new information from police this morning that they have 2 persons of interest in custody. Police arrested them at a home on Milwaukee Street early Sunday, one day after the deadly shooting. Video here shows the scene on Portage Road Saturday night when shots fired from a car and hit Dabo and another man. Dabo died. The other victim is expected to live.
In addition to learning the victim's name today, we're also learning more about who he was.
Our Tanisha Shaw talked with a family friend of Dabo. Tanisha, what can you tell us?
Hi, Brady and Susan. The Gambian community is very close, and right now local Gambian Americans and other people in Madison are mourning the loss of Abubakar Dabo, who is better known as Buba. At 22 years old, he's leaving behind a promising future. Dabo's dreams and aspirations cut short after being shot Saturday night. He was visiting during a break from classes at Vanderbilt in Tennessee. He was alongside 2 brothers in Madison. One of them was shot as well and is expected to survive. Before Saturday, Dabo was known throughout Madison for playing soccer and excelling in academics.
Immigrating is a challenge. So to come here, be able to do school, not only do school, but be successful in school. Not only do school, but also do extracurricular activities. Like you mentioned, he was a good athlete, played soccer. Many of the people knows him that way. Not only do those things, but also give back to the community. He volunteered, he brought many young people together.
Yeah, and right now there are 2 persons of interest in custody connected to this case, but charges have not been formally filed yet. Dabo's family is honoring him through a charity and that will support a mosque and orphanage in Gambia.
Tanisha, thank you, and we'll continue to keep you informed on this case right here on News 3 Now. You can receive updates directly to your phone as soon as we have them with the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
You're making this decision to waive the revocation hearing freely, intelligently, and voluntarily. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
After appearing in court today, Slender Man attacker Morgan Geyser will go back to a mental health institution. A Waukesha County judge granted the State Department of Health Services request to revoke the 23-year-old's release privileges. It comes a week after Geyser told the judge through her attorney she would not fight revocation. Last month, police in Illinois arrested Geyser after she escaped her Madison group home after cutting off her ankle monitor. She was sent there after being granted release, following years in a mental health institution for nearly stabbing her classmate to death at a Waukesha park in 2014.
At least one person is hurt after a crash that happened on the Beltline earlier today. Madison Fire and the Wisconsin Department of Transportation say 2 cars crashed in the eastbound lanes at Old Sauk Road. Madison Fire says one witness reported a car leaking fluid. The crash closed the right lane for just under an hour. We'll continue reaching out to the responding agencies for an update on the injured person's condition.
Sun Prairie Superintendent Dr. Brad Sarin will lead the district to lead Chippewa Falls schools. Sarin previously led the Chippewa Falls district for 2 years ahead of taking on the role of Sun Prairie Superintendent in 2015. His departure coincides with an investigation into how the district handled child sex crime allegations against former Dean of Students Robert Gilkey-Messigeyer. News 3 Now has contacted Sarin about what his leaving means for that investigation. We haven't heard back yet. Sarin will officially begin the job on July 1st, 2026.
Well, members of the Wisconsin legislature are home for the holidays, but will be back to continue their session in the new year. And as we look ahead to 2026, News 3 Now is looking over Wisconsinites' top concerns politically and seeing whether lawmakers addressed them. In year-ender interviews with leaders of the state Senate, For the Record host Ellie LaLiberte had senators grade their progress so far this session.
I would probably give it a D. Honestly, we haven't been in that often. We've only been, I think, 9 times on the floor this session. We're really not meeting the moment about rising costs and affordability.
I'd give us a solid B, B+. You know, we got a budget done. We've gotten a whole slew of bills on the governor's desk, some that he signed, some that he's vetoed, but no, I think we're moving forward in a good fashion.
To see what Senate leaders say would move their House closer to an A grade, tune in to For the Record this Sunday. It airs at 10:30 right after CBS News Face the Nation.
Well, if you thought the Packers were dwelling on their devastating loss to the Bears last weekend, you'd be wrong.
Exactly. News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde is in Green Bay with why Matt LaFleur is laser focused on the upcoming Ravens game.
Packers head coach Matt LaFleur taking a very deliberate approach with his players today as they return to quasi-practice in advance of Saturday night's matchup here at Lambeau Field against the Baltimore Ravens. He didn't want them thinking at all about the game they kicked away last Saturday night in Chicago against the rival Bears. So he didn't waste time watching more of the film from that game and instead sending a very clear message about what the focus is for his team.
That is the message. Matter of fact, when we came in this morning, had all the position coaches as well as the units, they cover the tape, and typically I cover that within for a second time within the team meeting, and we put it to bed prior to coming to the team meeting, and it's like, hey, our sole focus is on the Baltimore Ravens, and we got to find a way to get a win, bottom line. So, and I do think that the energy and enthusiasm that you attack the day with plays a big part in that. So I thought we had good energy this morning. Certainly it's more of a mental day today in regards to just how we're practicing, and but the meeting structure and all that has been pretty much the same, and it's just how we're practicing, and then tomorrow we'll get back more into our normal routine.
We'll have everything you need to get ready for Saturday night's matchup with the Ravens on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. And still ahead, areas north of Madison had some slick conditions this morning. Blaze will tell us if we can expect any more slick travel as we head into the holiday.
And we'll bring you an update on a controversial new way of pricing groceries at Instacart. Wall Street ended the day in the green. The Dow was up nearly 80 points. The S&P 500 is up 133. The NASDAQ is up 31.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Moving forward.
We have an update on a controversial new way of pricing groceries at Instacart. We're learning that its system relies on artificial intelligence.
But now the company has changed its mind on using the technology. Jolene Kent has been following this story and has the latest.
Instacart is pulling the plug on AI, setting different prices for different customers. Earlier this month, Consumer Reports and progressive think tank Groundwork Collaborative found that Instacart's algorithmic pricing charged various prices for the same item from the same store. The prices varied by 7% on average, depending on the shopper, which could cost a family of four $1,200 more per year. One example, according to the report, a dozen eggs added to virtual carts at the same time from one Washington, D.C. grocery store rang up at 5 different prices, ranging from $3.99 to $4.79. Now, just 2 weeks later, the online grocery platform says they fell short of customers' expectations, announcing in a blog post, effective immediately, Instacart is ending all item price tests on our platform. Phil Lempert is a food industry analyst.
The fact that they caved so quickly says to me that they know that they were doing something wrong.
What does this say about what the consumer can trust or shouldn't trust when they're grocery shopping?
Well, consumers have been very leery about AI to begin with. Now, with this revelation about Instacart, consumers aren't going to trust them. And what we're hearing more than anything else is don't screw around with our food.
Instacart insists that this is not dynamic pricing, and the stores themselves will continue to set the prices on Instacart, and that could differ from what you see in terms of pricing in person at the grocery store. Meanwhile, Reuters reported last week that the FTC is now probing Instacart over these controversial practices. Jolene Kent, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And we will continue to follow that story. Now to the weather. If you're traveling to loved ones or you have loved ones coming to you for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, Blaze is here with what the temperatures will be like and anything else.
Yeah, just a little bit of fog and maybe some light rain on Christmas Eve and some drizzle on Christmas Day. We're hanging out in the 20s tonight underneath mostly cloudy conditions. Again, that chance for some fog popping up as we go into the morning hours on Christmas Eve, so keep that in mind. But temperatures will be mild for this time of year. We should be about 10 degrees cooler, more or less settling into those mid-teens. It is going to be a mild week, essentially. We're going to hang out in those upper 30s to low 40s, not only Christmas Eve and Christmas, but further into Friday and Saturday. And then things change. So that light rain moving in on Christmas Eve, that's going to hold off until, I would say, the mid-afternoon onward. That's when it will start to begin, especially for folks, I would say, south of the Dells and to the east of Iowa and Lafayette counties. That will continue to push off into Lake Michigan, taper off as we go overnight. Maybe we redevelop some fog as we go into your Christmas morning. So keep that in mind if you are going to be traveling from house to house through at least the late morning, early afternoon hours. We could be running into some patchy, dense fog. Some drizzle may be possible throughout the day on Christmas, but as we look ahead to Thursday night into Friday, that's when winds turn back out of the south. We get the return of a light rain-snow mix. Folks north of the Dells, maybe a little bit of ice, but as I just mentioned, temperatures are going to remain above freezing, not only throughout the day on Friday, but further into Saturday. And we've been so warm lately that our ground really isn't cold enough to keep that ice around, especially places that are pretty well traveled. So keep that in mind. But I would say that's going to be our biggest issue here over the next couple of days, is that small ice chance later Thursday night into Friday. But upper 30s to low 40s, both Christmas and Christmas Eve. That extends these mild temperatures further into Friday as well into Saturday. With no snow in the forecast and maybe not officially a white Christmas because we have to have at least an inch of snow on the ground Christmas morning at the National Weather Service observation site that is at the Dane County Regional Airport. So maybe unofficially it won't be a white Christmas, but typically, how does each county within our area historically fare? What is the probability of a white Christmas? Well, for most of our area, it's about a 50% chance, according to the Wisconsin State Climatology Office from data from 1999 through 2020. Once we get into parts of Sauk County, Juneau, Adams, Adams, Green Lake, Waushara, as well as Marquette counties, we're up to about 60%. So more than less of our Christmases are typically considered a white Christmas. But you get into Rock, as well as Jefferson and Walworth County, man, we get down to about 40%. We can thank the warm waters off of Lake Michigan likely for that. So there's just a little bit of historic kind of content and context as to how we normally see our Christmases. Where is the winter? Well, it returns as we go Saturday onward. That's when we'll start to cool on down 20s and even the upper teens as we go into, say, that following Monday. So it does look like we may be ending the year and starting off 2026 on the cooler than average side. There's a look at our average temperatures compared to normal. And there's a look at our 7 and 10 day forecast. Not much to talk about. I mean, you know, given that this is a busy time of year, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 holidays in the 7 and 10 day stretch here. I'm glad that we're not having to deal with anything like a blizzard.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, girl, that would have been, that would have been too rough. Yes, but yeah, all things considered, you know, at least we're not dealing with anything like that.
Oh, that was quite the release that you just had just now.
Yeah, well, you know, after that snow Thanksgiving, I was worried.
Yes.
It would have been a double whammy.
This is a gift.
Not, yeah.
Thank you, please.
And you can track the forecast yourself on the First Warn weather app. It has hourly planners, road conditions, and radar. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather.
Still to come tonight at 5, a surprising report from the Commerce Department about the U.S. economy, what it shows about consumer spending this year.
And the Department of Justice has released thousands of pages from the Jeffrey Epstein files, what the new documents say about President Trump.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5, moving forward.
In health news, the Food and Drug Administration is approving a daily pill of the weight loss drug Wegovy. The pill's maker, Novo Nordisk, said the pill version has about the same weight loss and side effects in clinical trials as the Wegovy shot. The initial cost of the pills will be around $149 for patients paying out of pocket, and that figure will likely go up as patients increase their dosage.
The latest GDP report is out today. It shows the U.S. economy accelerated at an inflation-adjusted annualized rate of 4.3%. That's a faster pace than we saw in the second quarter and the fastest growth rate in 2 years. Experts and wealthy consumers' spending were the main contributors to the strong GDP reading, which got delayed due to the government shutdown. These numbers are from July, August, and September.
More recent data shows consumer confidence is down. The latest survey from the Conference Board shows consumer confidence fell 3.8% from November. That is the lowest reading since April. The monthly report shows consumers' views of their family's finances dipped into the negative for the first time in nearly 4 years. People across all income levels expressed more concern about the state of the labor market, with unemployment at a 4-year high.
In national news, multiple people are hurt after an explosion at a nursing home in about 20 miles northeast of Philadelphia. Crews are responding to an active fire. It's not yet clear how many people are hurt. Authorities believe some people are still trapped inside of the building.
Nearly 30,000 pages, more pages of documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are out today. The Justice Department continued its release this morning, even though by law the files were supposed to be released on the 19th. The new release includes a 2020 email from a New York prosecutor to a colleague saying that flight logs show President Trump flew on Epstein's private jet, quote, many more times than previously known. The DOJ has defended the president, saying that some claims in the newly released files are untrue. The Trump administration is ramping up pressure on Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, with the U.S. military currently in active pursuit of a third tanker carrying sanctioned oil.
CBS's Christian Benavides reports from Miami.
U.S. military aircraft were seen operating at a naval station in Puerto Rico as the Trump administration ramps up America's military presence in the Caribbean, part of an increasing pressure campaign against Venezuela.
Donald Trump has upped the ante First trying to hope to rattle the military, now trying to cut off its resources by cutting off its all-important export of illegal oil.
Over the weekend, an elite Coast Guard unit seized control of a second oil tanker in the waters off Venezuela. And President Trump says a third vessel is in the military site.
It's moving along and we'll end up getting it.
The White House has referred to Venezuela as a narco state. Video from U.S. Southern Command shows the latest of at least 29 strikes on suspected drug trafficking boats. This one in the Eastern Pacific, killing at least one person.
What we don't know is which narco-terrorists were on this quote-unquote low-profile vessel and what they were transiting. When the military is referring to a low-profile vessel, that is likely referring to the fact that this was a submarine or semi-submersible vessel.
If he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough.
President Trump has warned Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, who railed against the tanker seizures as acts of piracy.
What this is really all about, and what it's always been about, is provoking regime change within the government.
Security experts note these latest escalations could increase the risk of confrontation with Venezuela. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
And Blaze will have a final check of the weather when we return.
The Move, a Christmas train bringing joy from stop to stop. That's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
And coming up at 6, a year after a crash left a VFW plane heavily damaged, we'll tell you where the efforts to repair it stand.
Ooh, some good news for two people in Madison and Janesville. The Wisconsin Lottery announced the Quick Trip on Fish Hatchery Road sold a $50,000 winning Powerball ticket. Another Quick Trip in Janesville sold a $150,000 ticket. This marks the 8th and 9th winning Powerball tickets sold in Wisconsin in the last 3 Powerball drawings.
So 3 winners?
Look at that.
1, 2,
yeah, we
3.
Merry Christmas to us, everyone.
Yeah.
If only.
Your favorite team. Christmas right around the corner, and it is going to be mild, upper 30s to low 40s. Wednesday, Thursday, and even continuing into Friday and Saturday. Be aware, could be waking up to some fog Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, with a rain-snow mix moving on into and Christmas going into Friday morning. All things considered, no big systems to impact any sort of travel. And looking ahead to New Year's Eve and New Year's, staying pretty quiet with temperatures a little bit cooler. Back into those 20s we go.
All right, thank you, Blaze. Thanks for watching at 5, everybody. The CBS Evening News is coming up next.